Okay, here we go. This is the last of Suetonius's Lives of Poets, Virgil. It's take about 5 days. Um, Publius Virgilius Maro, that's the fellow's name. He lived in a place called Mutua. And we have an ablative. So with his father and his parents, modicus. So he had modest or low of origin parents, but praecipui was the adverb for especially his father. Okay, whom quidam looks like certain people. This must be what they're saying in the accusative. An opificem figulum. Well, a figulum is a potter, and an opifex is a worker. Looks like he's a skilled potter maker. But plures, many people, magi qsm of a certain magus. Viatorus, so initio means in the beginning. It looks like a Viatorus mercatorium. So looks like he was a worker for this guy, but I'm pretty sure the lobe has he was an attendant of the magistrates. So anyway, Viator is usually a traveller or someone, but we'll go with the lobe there. And mock soon, he has advanced soon because of his industrium. It's his resolve, purpose, and diligence. Treaded on. Okay, so we go back up here. There's quidem. Certain people treaded on. They say he was a potter, and plures many said that he was in initio in the beginning. He was working for this guy Magus, and it looks like because of his purpose and resolve and diligence, he became a Generum, his son-in-law. So he must have married Magus's daughter, or one of them. And egregi, another word for a special or so, a bit like precupe. What's this? Looks like a gerundive. He has bought up woodland, the silvers, and his substantia, maybe a substantial amount, we'll just put for now, and apibus with bees, curanus. Okay, so buying up woodland and by caring for bees, you might want to say he increased his res. Recula is the diminutive of res, so recula is a little res, and res is used for how much money he's got really, so his estate, etc. He bought up forest land and put bees in them probably. Narcissist, he was born, fancy that. And what have we got here? Consuls, that's the abbreviated way they use consuls, so when these guys were first consuls, Pompeo Magnus, that's Pompeius the Great, and M. Licinio Crassus, it's all ablative. He was born when they were the consuls first, on a day, and a day which was Idem Octobrium. The Ides of October would be the 15th, in a pago, in a canton, or whatever they call it, or region. Dicator, which is said be called Andes. And Abest non Procol, and it's not far Abest or away from Mantua, which was this place mentioned early. The nus bit just makes an adjective out of it. Okay, pregnas mater. So his mother was pregnant with him, and she somniavited. She was sleeping. Looks like she had a dream. Initor a deponent, and she enixamed. She struggled or gave birth. It looks like in the dream maybe she gave birth. Say, and he himself, or whatever the say is, was a laurel branch, laurel ramum, which contact to, with its contact with the earth, the terra, it coalesced and excrevissaed and grew. Illico, adverb on the spot. It was in the speciem, in the appearance of a matura arboris, of a mature tree, and it referted, it was bearing possibly, various pomace, which are fruits, and floribuses, which are flowers. Cool dream if it was true. And the sequenti Luce, and the next morning light come along the next day, and with her marito, her husband, she was petensing, present participling. She was seeking or going to a propinquum rus, nearby countryside, and she diverted from her itinerary, and in a subjecta fossa, in a ditch that was next to it, subjected to the road, she partued, she gave birth. and levata. It looks like she relieved herself in this birth of some of this weight of being pregnant. Okay, so it went from having a dream to actually giving birth. Ferunt, they say, in the active, the infantum, this would be the baby just born, utsit, we'll just take it as for now, as it was editus, as it was produced, or as it came into being, nequi vagisse, neither did it wail and adio to such an extent ut, in its voltu, in its look or in its face, fuisi it was mitai, it was mild or soft in its look, and didn't wail, adio, to such an extent ut that there was hord dubium. There was no doubt that this was maybe a sign of spam. This was a hope of a prosperious genitura. Gignes means being produced, so it was going to produce a prosperous future that they took from this sign. Yam now, Tom then Dara gave. So this birth and happy-looking child gave them a omens of a happy and prosperous future, maybe. Et arcesset. Arcesset's used to add something. Also, if you summon someone or bring someone, you're adding to them. So, and it's also added that another praesagium, pre means in advance, another omen in advance or sign there was, sequidum, seeing that, or if indeed, seeing there was a popular virga, there was a poplar at the top of a tree, virga means was a branch of it, in the moray of the region, and the custom of the region, start him immediately in eodem loco, in the same place of the birth of a boy, a poor Paris, was depacta, was depangoed or planted in the ground. So it looks like a sprig, basically, of a poplar tree was planted in the ground in the same place, and breve tempore, in a short period of time, it evaluated, it grew strong or big, so that multo, by very much, populars, the other poplar trees which were sates, which means sown before it, it had equaled. It equaled in size the other trees which had been planted before it, which, quae, was the arbor of Virgil, and from this dicta. So it was called from this the tree of Virgil. And etiam, even consecrata est, we'll just say it is consecrated by the summa gravidarum, by very pregnant women, and fetarum, of those who were just given birth. Religion, in this religion, scipientium, was taken up as a religion, that part, by pregnant and women who were just given birth, and ibi, and there they would solventium vota, they would create some vow, basically, and plant a tree there. Okay, for the highlight of the day, the Daily Dictionary, depango. I drive down, fix into the ground. Okay, so that's how you propagate the tree. From driving into the ground. You can click on Lewis and Charles Short's dictionary for more information. So, initiated at the beginning of his age, of his life, you might want to say, he exited, he lived his life at Cremona, wherever that is, somewhere in Italy. Usquiad, up till the time of his virilem toga, to his, when he first took his toga, virile means man, so he was becoming a man, which happened on the XV Enonate, on his 15th birthday. He accepted this. On his 15th birthday, he took the virile toga, and isdam consolibus, with the same consuls, iterum again, duibus. So the two same consuls were being the consuls, quibiserat, which had been when he was natust, when he was born. And it evented, and it happened that on the eo ipso dei, on that very day, Lucretius the poeta, Lucretius the poet, deceased. He desiderated, he fell, he died. Said Virgilius, but Virgil, from Cremona to the accusative to Mediolum, he must have moved, and Indy, and then after, Paulo Post, a little after, he transited into Rome, the Urbam. Corpore. In body and statura, from his height, he was grandi, because he was tall or thick. Aquilo colour. No, he wasn't a north colour, he was a dark colour, with a facies, with a face rusticana, so maybe he was wrinkled or sunburnt, and in valetudinine, in his health or sickness, it was various. 4. Plurumque, which usually means generally or a lot, from his stomach and forcibussus, it's his jaws and throat, and ac, and he laborated, so he also laboured from his stomach and his throat, and with the dolor of his head, capitis, headaches, and etiam, even, saipi, often, he reicated, he rejected or spat out sanguinem, which is blood. Cibi vini qui minimi. So he had a minimal amount of food and wine, so it wasn't excessive. Libidinus, so it looks like a comparative. Proniores, he was rather prone in puros to some boys. And he's looks like he enjoyed them, of which Maxime greatly delexated. He delighted in these two. He especially delighted in Capitum and Alexandrum, whom Secunda, in his second eglogia, whatever that is, that's the type of book that he wrote, called the Bucolicorum, he appellated Alexem. He named, one of them was named. And it looks like they were donated sibi to him by Asinio Polion and Utrumque. Both of them are you've got two nons basically, non and eric, you cancel each other out. So both of them were erudite, they had some education. Moreover, but Cabitam, this first guy, he was also a poeta, a poet. Vulgatum est, it was put about, and these type of s take the infinitive. Consuese, he was accustomed to have some sort of interaction with Plotia. Why is that thing there? With Plotia Hiera. So that's what the word was. But Ascanius Pedianus affirms that Postea afterwards, Ipsam herself, when Majorum Natu, looks like when she was older, she would narrate that Solitiam. We'll see what happens. And when invited, quidem. So indeed, or even, he was invited by Varius to have some communion or interaction with her, but he recused this aid, he refused most pertinacissime, the superlative obstinately. So that whole section there was just about rumours, basically. Sane, yeah, surely or certainly, cetera, for the rest vitae of his life, et ore et animo, two ets means both in mouth and animo, so the things he said and in his mind, constat, it was agreed that he was tam probum, he was so upright, ut, tam and ut being correlatives, that Neapoli, the Neapolitans, or Naples, or wherever the hell that is, Volgo was commonly appellatus sit, Parthenius, he was called the maiden there, and you have a subjunctive with your uts. And sequando, and if he was ever at Rome, or whenever he went to Rome, to their very rarissime, very rarely he commiabated there, he travelled there very rarely, viseritur, seen in public, sectantus, the people following him, and demonstrating or pointing him out when he was seen in public, caused him to subterfugurant, caused him to flee off into the proximum tectum. So he didn't like all the attention, so he would run off into a nearby house to avoid people.